Fine, good afternoon to you all students. Hi students, how are you? I hope you all are fine. Students, are you studying daily portion? So are you studying daily portion or not students? So please study daily portion, okay? So don't waste time. Welcome to our today's online class. So warm greetings to you all students. So now we are studying about chapter 9. So what's the title of our chapter? So introduction to C++. Okay. So before we are going to start about our today's portion, just recall. So what are the things I have taught at the last class? Okay. So are you remembering what are the things you have studied in the last class? So are you remembering or not? So in this chapter 9 onwards, you are studying one new programming language called, what's our programming language you are studying? C++, isn't it? So last class, what are things you have studied? So history of C++. So as well as introduction about C++, history of C++. Then what do you mean by character set? What do you mean by lexical units or tokens? So what are things you have studied? Lexical unit, keywords, identifiers, isn't it? So this and all very, very important things. Okay. So today we are going to study about literals. Okay. So what's the other name for literals? Constants. Okay. So what's the other name of literals? Constants. Okay. So what's the definition of literals means? So literals, see, this is the definition. Literals are data items, those value do not change during the execution of program. So what's the meaning of that means? So you are assigning, for example, a equal to 5. So you are assigning one value for the variable a equal to 5. Okay. So and you are writing that same thing in a, you are going to add two numbers. Consider you are going to add how many numbers? Two numbers. So the value of a equal to 5 and b equal to 10. Okay. C equal to a plus b. Okay. C equal to a plus b you are giving. Okay. So what's the thing? 10 plus 5 is 15. Isn't it? So you are giving the value a equal to 5 and b equal to 10. So the same thing you are writing in a program and you are running the program. So while execution time of the program, whether the value will get changed, you are giving the value of a as 5 and b as 10. Whether the value will be changed? No. So that kind of values we are calling as an what? Literals or consonants. Understand? So the values do not get changed during the execution of a program. That values we are calling as an what? Literals or constants. Okay. So what's the other name of literals? Constants. Okay. So now we are studying about program C++, isn't it? So C++ support lot of literals or different kinds of literals or different kinds of consonants that the C++ program will support. Okay. So now we are going to study about, so what are the types of literals, or the types of literals you are going to study one by one in detail. Okay. So what's another name for literals? Constants. Okay. So these constants are divided into 4 types. Okay. The constants are divided into how many types? 4 types. What are they? Numeric constant, Boolean constant, character constant and string literals. Understand? So constants are divided into how many types? 4 types. What are they? Numeric constant, Boolean constant, character constant and string literals. Okay. So again, so this numeric constants are again, it is divided into 2 types. What are they? Integer constant as well as real constant. Understand? So what are the things you have studied in literals? What do you mean by literals first? So you are assigning some values to the data. So that values will not get changed while you are executing the program. Okay. So that things we are calling as an literals. What's the other name for literal? Constants. Okay. So how many types of literals are there totally? 4 types. What are they? Numeric constant, Boolean constant, character constant and string literals. Okay. Again, numeric constant is divided into 2 types. What are they? Integer constant as well as real constant. Understand? Yes. First you are going to study about numeric constant. Okay. So name itself having numeric. What do you mean by numeric? The numbers we are calling as an numeric. Okay. So the name itself we can able to identify numeric constant means it will have which value? number or numeric values. Understand? Numeric constant means it will have which values? Numeric values. So that values we are using as a constants. Understand what do you mean by numeric constants? It will represent the numbers. Okay. So that number we are calling as an which constant? So if you are defining some numbers, if you are defining some numbers as a constant, so that numbers we are calling as a which constant? Numeric constant. Understand? So this numeric constant is again divided into two types. Okay. So this numeric constant is again divided into how many types? Two types. What are they? Integer constant and real constant. Okay. So numeric constant is divided into how many types? Two types. What are they? Integer constant and real constant. So what's the other name for integer constant? Fixed point constant. Okay. So what's the other name for real constant? Floating point constant. This and all important questions. Okay. So what do you mean by numeric constant? So if you are defining a constant with the numbers, we can say that is a which constant? Numeric constant. Okay. So this numeric constant divided into how many types? Two types. What are they? Integer constant or fixed point constant or real constant or floating point constant. Understand? Yes. First one is integer constant. What's the other name for integer constant? What's the other name for integer constant? Fixed point constant. Okay. So name itself having integers. Okay. Integers means it is defining a whole numbers. So if you are defining some numbers, those numbers without any fractions, we are calling as a which number? Whole. What do you mean by whole numbers? In maths you might have studied whole numbers, natural numbers, isn't it? Natural number starts from the value 1. Whole number starts from the value 0. Isn't it? So that we are calling as a whole number. For example, a number 5. We are calling as a whole number or natural number. 5.5. So whether you will call as a whole number? No. Because that's a fractional, isn't it? So the number without any fractions we are calling as in which numbers? Whole numbers. Okay. So that type of constants we are calling as in which constant? Integer constant. Understand? So what is numeric constant or integer constant? A number is defined without any fraction. We are calling as a integer constant. Okay. So integer, when we can say this number is an integer constant means, so the particular number will have at least one digit. Okay. So if you are representing some numbers, the numbers at least will have one digit without a decimal point. What's the meaning of with decimal point and without a decimal point? For example, 5.5. So what's the meaning? 5.5 is a decimal number. Isn't it? Having 5.5 having a decimal point. Simply we can say the number 5. So number 5 is there. Okay, so the number we can say without a decimal point. Understand what do you mean by with decimal point and without decimal point? 5.5 means there is a number with decimal point. Simply a 5 will be there. We can say the number without decimal point. Okay, but integer constant means what's the meaning? The number without a decimal point. If a whole number needs to be a whole number, and also number need not to be a decimal point. Okay. So the number may be signed or unsigned. What do you mean by signed and unsigned? That means before the number, you need to provide sign. Sometimes you can provide sign. Sometimes you will put sign. Sometimes you will not put sign. For example, -5. What's the meaning? So number is a negative number. That's a signed number. Which sign? Number will have a negative sign. -5. Simply 5. So you are not giving any sign before the number 5. That is called as an unsigned number. Understand what do you mean by signed and unsigned? -5 plus 5. So if you are providing a sign before the number, we can say the number is a signed number. Okay. So if you are not providing any sign before the number, we can say that is an unsigned number. Okay. So normally we used to put, if a number is a negative number means we used to put negative sign before the number, isn't it? So normally a number is a negative number means we used to put negative number before the before the negative symbol before the number. Okay, but positive number means we won't put, isn't it? For example, if you are going to write 5, so you know 5 means simply 5 means also you know that's a positive number, but you won't write as a +5. But negative number means you should mention -5, isn't it? So here in integer constants, the numbers may be signed or unsigned. Signed number also it will accept, unsigned number also it will accept. Okay, normally we used to provide negative numbers means we used to put minus symbol. Okay, so in this numbers, commas, blank spaces, this and all are not allowed in integer constant. Okay, what are things are not allowed in integer constant? Spaces as well as commas. Okay, understand? So, there are totally 3 types of integer constants are there. Okay, so how many types of integer constants are there totally? 3 types. What are they? Decimal, octal and hexadecimal. Understand how many types of integer constants are there totally? 3. What are they? Decimal, octal and hexadecimal. Understand? So what are things you have studied in integer constant? Integer means it will represent a whole number without fractions. So at least a given number have 1 digit. Without digits we can say as an integer constant. The number without a decimal point, that's important. If you are mentioning a number as an integer constant, you won't mention the number with decimal point. Okay, but you can mention the number with signed or unsigned. So what are things are not allowed here? Commas, blank spaces, this and all not allowed. Okay, so how many types of integer constants are there? Totally 3. What are they? Decimal, octal and hexadecimal. Understand? Yes. First thing is a decimal constant. Okay, so what do you mean by decimal? So decimal means normal numbers, isn't it? Numbers or point numbers, a number with decimal points, a number without decimal point. Okay, we can say that is a decimal numbers. Okay, so here they are, what do you mean by decimal mean? A sequence of 1 or more digits. What do you mean by sequence? Collection of, for example, it's 725. So collection, how many digits there totally there? 3. That's a sequence. A sequence of digits between 0 to 9. Okay, so if you are mentioning some digits, that digit is between 0 to 9. Understand? So decimal means it will represent the numbers between 0 to 9. So the number we are calling as a decimal constants. They have given some example. Listen. So 725. So that is one number. That's a decimal constant. Then this is a signed number minus 27. That also a valid decimal. 4.56. So decimal, it will have decimal point. This is 4.56. So this and all valid. Listen. 7, 500. Whether comma is allowed? No. So this is a invalid number. See the next thing. 665. In between the space is there. Whether space is allowed? No. So it is it is an invalid. Then $9. So here special character. Whether special character is there? Allowed? No. So it is also not allowed. So we can say this also a invalid. Understand? Sometimes they will give some numbers like this and ask you to identify which are the valid numbers. Understand? So if you are giving a number with like this 4.56. Okay. So in a program if you are giving a number like 4.56 as a integer decimal constant means, so the compiler will accept only this integer part 4. Okay, so it will, because you are giving in decimal constant. Okay, so because it will accept only the integer part, it will ignore that after the decimal point. So after the decimal point, how many numbers you are giving, it will ignore all the numbers. Understand what are things you have studied in decimal? So decimal means it will have sequence of numbers between 0 to 9. So here the same thing you have studied integer, same only. Okay, so what are things are allowed? Numbers you need to mention between 0 to 9. So numbers have maybe signed or unsigned. In decimal point also allowed. But comma, spaces, special symbols and all not allowed. See, first 3 numbers are valid number. Here comma is there, so it is not allowed. Here space is there, it is not allowed. Here special symbol is there, not allowed. Okay. So if you are assigning 4.56, for example, if you are giving 4.56 as decimal constant means, so the compiler will take only the integer part. It will ignore the after the decimal point. Understand about decimal constant? So understand about decimal constant? Yes. So next we are going to study about octal. Okay. So this and all we have studied in the second chapter very thorough. What do you mean by octal? What do you mean by decimal? Everything. Isn't it? So what's the next constant? Octal constant. Okay. So octal means the numbers are between, decimal means already you have studied the numbers between 0 to 9. Isn't it? Same thing. So if the number is a octal constant means the values between 0 to 7. Okay. So the values need to give within which one? 0 to 7. And also, if a number begins with 0, we can say that is a which type of constant? Octal constant. Understand? So when we can say the given number is octal constant, so the number is between the number you are giving or defining as a constant, that number is between 0 to 7, and also the number starts with or begins with 0. Begins with 0, we can say that is a which constant? Octal constant. But decimal means the number is between 0 to 9. But here octal means the number is between 0 to 7. And also important thing, the number always starts with the 0. We can say we get this a octal constant. Understand? So some examples they got given. Listen carefully. First thing, see 0, 12. So beginning and the starting of the number is 0. So we can say this is a valid number, valid octal constant. Then minus 0, 27. So here also the number can be signed or unsigned. That's no problem. Okay. So here also the number starts with 0. So we can say this is a octal constant. Next, plus 0, 2, 3, 1. So here also the number starts with value 0. So we can say the number is octal constant. Okay. So listen, next they have given say 0, 5, 600. So whether we can say this is octal constant? No. Why? Because the symbol comma is there. Whether comma is allowed? No. So the rules is same for all the constants. Even decimal constant, octal constant, boolean constant, everything, the rules will become same. So comma is there. So the comma is not allowed. Next thing. So here the decimal point is also not allowed in octal constant. Understand? So decimal point is also not allowed in octal constant. So here in this number the decimal point is there. So we can say this is not a octal constant. Okay. Next. Listen, 0, 1, 5, 8. So whether this is octal constant? No. Why? Because already you have studied the octal constant means the numbers between 0 to 7. Isn't it? So octal constant means the numbers always between 0 to 7. But here the given number is between the given number contains the value 8. Greater than 7. Isn't it? So this number is not a octal constant. Understand the difference between the decimal constant and octal constant? So please compare and study each topics. Understand? Yes. So next thing is a hexadecimal constant. Okay. So here, what do you mean by hexadecimal values? The numbers between 0 to 9 as well as A to F. What's the meaning of A to F? A represents 10, B represents 11. Like this till 15. Understand? So numbers from 0 to 9 as well as A to F. So we can say the number is a hexadecimal. Okay. And also one thing, octal means the number starts with 0 means we can say the number is a octal constant. Likewise, if the number starts with 0 small x or 0 capital letter x. Understand? So number starts with 0 small letter x or 0 capital letter x. We can say that is a which constant? Hexadecimal constant. Understand what do you mean by hexadecimal constant? So hexadecimal constant will have the numbers between 0 to 9 as well as A to F, and also the number starts with small letter 0 small letter x or 0 capital letter x. We can say that is a hexadecimal constant. Understand? So listen carefully. So first number, one example they are giving 0x123. So this is a hexadecimal comp. By seeing itself you can see. So because the number starts with 0x, isn't it? Next 0 capital letter x 568. So this also we can say hexadecimal. Why? The number starts with 0 capital letter x 568, isn't it? Next, see the next thing 0x1 comma A5. So whether this is a valid thing? No, because comma is there, it is not a valid. So we can say it is invalid. Next 0x.14e. Whether decimal point is allowed? No. So we can say this is a invalid hexadecimal number. Okay. So sometimes the numbers have a suffix. What do you mean by suffix? Prefix and suffix. In English you might have studied prefix and suffixes. What do you mean by prefix? Prefix means beginning. Suffix means end. So end of this number, some numbers will have L or some capital letter L or small letter L or capital letter U or small letter U. Okay, so that means it represents L means long number, U means unsigned number. So what's the meaning of L? L means long sign number, U means unsigned number. Understand? So in this concept, 3 types of constants you have studied. So what are the 3 types of constants come under this numeric constants? Sorry, integer constant. So integer constants, there are 3 types of constants you have studied. What are they? Fixed point, decimal, octal and hexadecimal. Okay, please compare it and study. So next thing is a real constant or floating point constant. Okay, so integer constant we have studied the number without any fractions, isn't it? But floating point constant means, so here the numeric constant of fractional common. What do you mean by fractional? So 2 divided by 5. So that's a fraction. 1 divided by 2. So that's a fraction, isn't it? So 1 divided by 2 answer you will get 0.5. So that's a point number. The point numbers we can say as a floating point. So we can write this as a fractional form as well as exponent form. Okay. So real constants we can write as a fractional form as well as exponent form. Okay. So fractional form of a real constant is, we can define this fractional form is signed as well as unsigned. Okay. So if the number will serve decimal point means also we can represent the number with signed or unsigned. Signed means the number have minus or positive before the number at prefix. Unsigned means the number will not have any symbols at the prefix. Okay. So and also on condition, so after and before the decimal points you should have some at least 1 digit number. Okay. So before and after the decimal point it should have at least, for example, 4.5. So before the decimal point how many numbers there? 1, 4. After the decimal point how many numbers is there? 4.5 means 1, 5. Okay. So before and after the decimal point there will have a at least 1 digit. Okay. So and also the number is signed means the number will start with either positive or negative. Okay. So if you are not giving any sign for the number, we can say that is an unsigned number or positive number. For that only first itself one example I said plus 5 means you won't write as a plus 5. Simply you will write 5. So by saying itself 5 means you can say that's a positive number, but minus 5 means you should mention the negative number, negative symbol before the number. That means, so if by saying identify, for identification you should write the symbols at the first. Understand? So what are things you have studied? Real constant. Real constant means, so floating or numeric constant, they have a fractional component. Fractional numbers, that means decimal numbers. So here also we can able to represent as a fractional form in the form of a fractional form we can represent, or in exponent form. And also we can represent the given number in the form of signed as well as unsigned. Positive number or negative number you can give. So the signed means either you can mention the number with plus or minus. Okay. So if you are not giving any sign means you can assign that number as a positive number. Understand? Yes. So here already you have studied, you can mention the numbers either in a fractional form or exponent form. Isn't it? So exponent form, if you have mentioned the number in exponent form means, so that exponent form you can mention in 2 types. Okay. So the exponent form of a real constant have mentioned in how many parts? 2 parts. What are they? Mantissa as well as exponent. Understand? So once again, so the exponent form of a real constant contain how many? Important question. Exponent form of real constant contain how many parts? 2 parts. What are they? Mantissa as well as exponent. Okay. So for example, you are giving some point numbers. Okay. So before the point, that means the point we can say as a Mantissa part. Okay. The point we can say as a, the integer we can say as a Mantissa. Okay. So remaining things we can write as the letter. Exponent can be represented by a letter E. Either exponent is represented by letter capital E or small e. Okay. So that also may be an integer. Understand? One example they have given. So that I will explain. Listen carefully. So the exponent part connect how many parts? 2 parts. What are they? Mandisa as well as exponent. Okay. So Mandisa is a real thing. We are calling real part of the number. We are calling as a Mandisa. So after the Mandisa, the number is followed with which symbol? Exponent. The exponent is denoted by a symbol capital letter E or small letter E. Understand? Understand or not? Yes. So listen. Example they have given. See. 5, 8, how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So totally 8 zeros will be there. Okay, totally 8 zeros will be there. So same thing you can write as the exponent form or in fractional form. Okay, so listen how you can write. So 8 zeros will be there. So 0.58 into 10 the power 8. So this is not 108, 10 the power 8. Okay, if zeros are like this means you can write in the powers of 10. So count, first you count how many zeros are there. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So totally 8 zeros are there. So that zeros you can mention in the powers of 10. Okay, so but you should write the number with starting 0. So 0.58. So into 10 the power 8. Understand? So if you are seeing this one means we can say, so 0.58, this we can say as which part? Mandisa. That means before the exponent part we can say that is a, before the exponent part we can say this is a Mandisa. So which one is the Mandisa here? 0.58. Okay, next same thing you can write in the exponent form. Okay, so exponent form is nothing but, so 10 the power, how many in the powers of 10, how many times you are writing? Same thing you need to represent in the letter E. Okay, so here 10 the power 8. So you should write E8. Sometimes 10 the power 5. You should write E5. 10 the power 3. So you should write E3. Understand the same thing you are writing. See 0.5 totally 10, 8 zeros is there. So 0.58 into 10 the power 8. Or same thing you can give and write and written as 0.58 into E8. Both will have the same meaning. Okay, so see this. So here we can say already we have studied Mandisa and exponent, 2 parts, isn't it? Mandisa means real integer. So which is the integer here? 0.58 is the integer. So that means before the exponent form integer is there means that we call as a Mandisa. So which one is the Mandisa here? 0.58. Okay, so which is the exponent part here? The power in near to the E, how what variable or what number you are represented, that we can say as an exponent. So what's the exponent part here? 8 after the E. So Mandisa means one just a thing you listen. Before the E, before the letter E, what are the integers are there? That is a Mandisa, and after the E we can say as a exponent part. Understand? So 3 examples they have given. Listen. First thing, listen. 5.864 E1. Same thing you are written, listen. So 10 the power 1. E1 means the powers of 10, how you will write? 10 the power 1 into 5.864. So 10 the power 1. So the point should be shifted the one place after. So 58.64. Understand? The same thing, listen. 5864 e power minus 2. Okay, e power minus 2. See here also there is no point is there. But e power minus 2. The same minus 2 means 10 the power. How you should write in the exponent to the 10 the powers? Same thing you are representing in 10 the power. So 10 the power minus 2 into the same number 5864. So how many places it will move? Powers of 2. So 2 places. So 1, 2. So 58.64. Understood? So here listen. So 0.5864 into E2 positive 2. Okay, so how you should write in the 10 the power 2? So 10 the power 2. So after the E, 2 is there. So 10 the power 2 into 0.5864. So here also, so 2 places, 10 the power 2, 2 places. So where the point will come? 1, 2. So 58.64. So understand how you are getting the answer? Understand the difference between Mandisa and exponent? So before the E, you are calling as a Mandisa. After the E, you are calling as a exponent. The powers of 10 you can write and written in the letter exponent also. Understand? Yes. So next thing is the Boolean literals. Okay, first literal over. Which literal? Numeric constants. See, there are 4 kinds of consonants you have studied. What are they? numeric constant, boolean, character and string. So numeric constant you have studied two types. What are they? Integer and real. So integer, what are things you have studied? Decimal, octal and hexadecimal. Then real thing, what are the real constants you have studied? Real or floating point, exponent and mantissa. Understand, this and all very important questions. Okay. So second types of constant, boolean literals. Okay. So boolean. So last chapter, second chapter fully you have studied about boolean values. Isn't what do you mean by boolean? Boolean means only the boolean have two values. So what are they? Either it will have true or false. True means the value will be 1. False means the value will be 0. Isn't it? That already you have studied. The boolean literals have always two values. What are the two boolean values? Either true or false. True means the value is 1. False means the value is 0. Understand? This is the second types of literal. So third type of literal is a character constant. Okay. So what's the third type of literal? Character constant. So listen. So character constant means, so here if you are representing a valid single character. Okay. So if you are representing a single character, character constant means you should represent always a single character. So that character needs to enclose with single quotes. That's very important. Understand? So character constant means, so it is a valid single. So always a character constant means always it will have a single character. The character always enclosed within single quotes. So not a double quotes. So the character will enclosed within single quotes. Okay. So some examples they are given. See, a, comma, 2, some symbols. So all the things are enclosed within single quotes. So we can say this is a valid character constant. So same thing they have given in double quotes. So character, if you are giving this particular single character in the double quote means it won't accept, it will say, so this is a invalid character constant. Why? So already you have studied valid character constant means the character constant always represents within single quotes. Understand? And also listen. So here what are the characters you are representing here? All the characters will have unique ASCII value. Understand? So what are the characters you are representing here? All the characters will have unique ASCII values. That's very important. Okay. So for example, first letter they have represented as A. So what's the ASCII value of A? 65. What's the ASCII value of B? 66. So understand what are things you have studied in the character constant? So character constant means it will represent, it is a valid single character. Always the single character is enclosed within single quotes. So if the character you are enclosed within double quotes means you can say that is a invalid. So and also one thing, all the single character if you are representing means each single character will have unique ASCII values. Understand? So that is character constant. So next thing is escape sequences. Okay, so what's the other name of escape sequences? Non-graphic characters. What's the other name of escape sequences? Non-graphic characters. Okay, so what do you mean by non-graphic character means? So some characters you are not able to type or print from the keyboard. Understand? So some characters are not able to type from the keyboard. That type of characters we are calling as which type of characters? Escape constant sequences or non-graphic characters. Okay, so which are the things we can say as a non-printable characters? So if you need to leave some spaces between two words. Understood? If you need to leave some spaces between two words. So whether the space you can able to type? No. Space is some spaces. It will provide some spaces. So you can't able to type for the space. Whether you will type SPAC. Likewise you will type whether for space? No. So likewise tabs. What's the use of tab? It will move some more places than the space. So likewise, some things you are not able to type from the keyboard. That type of characters we are calling as which one? Escape sequences or non-graphic characters or non-printed characters. Okay. So this kind of characters always is represented as a escape sequence. Okay. So this type of characters we can say as which one? escape sequences. And also, so all the escape sequences are starts with a symbol backslash. Understand? So escape sequences starts with the symbol backslash. So the backslash is followed by 1 or 2 characters. Understand? So all the escape sequence is followed by which one? Backslash. The backslash symbol followed by 1 or 2 characters. Understand? So what do you mean by escape sequence and non-graphic characters? Some characters you can't able to type or print from the keyboard, that we call as a non-graphic or escape sequences. So what are say some example? Backspace, spaces, enter, tabs, this and that. Okay. So these characters we can say as a escape sequences, as well as this kind of escape sequences always represented using which one? Backslash symbol. So that backslash symbol followed by some characters. Understand? So see this tabular column. Backslash A means audible. Backslash B means backspace. So backslash F means form feed. Backslash N means new line. Likewise, lot of backslash symbols will there. So after the backslash, it will have some characters. Understand? So this one we are calling as which one? This one we are calling as a non-graphical character or escape sequences. Okay. So this escape sequences will also allocate one space in the memory, 1 byte. Okay. So this escape sequence will also allocate 1 byte in the memory. Understand? Yes. So the last kind of literals is string literals. Okay. So what's the last kind of literals? String literals. Okay. So character constant and string literals is entirely different. Okay. So character constant means particular character constant is declared within single quote. A single character is enclosed within single quote, isn't it? But here string literals means sequence of characters. That's very, very important. Okay. A sequence of, that means what do you mean by sequence? Collection of words or some sentences. So collection, a sequence of characters enclosed within double quotes. That's very, very important. Character constant means a single character. Always a single character is represented using single quotes. But here string literal means a sequence of characters enclosed within double quotes. That we are calling as which literals? String literals. Okay. So in the string literals, so all if anything you have defined. So what are the things you are defining in string literals? So at the last of the thing character, so backslash 0 or null is added at the end of the character. Okay. So whatever you have mentioned in string literals, so after the word or after the sentence, it will add a backslash 0 at the last of the character. So backslash 0 we are calling as a null. Okay. Backslash 0 we are calling as a which? Null. For example, you are entering a string welcome. Okay. What string you are entering? Welcome. Okay. So if you are entering a string welcome, automatically it will represent welcome as a, in computer memory, it will represent the memory, this word welcome as a welcome backslash 0. Understand? So how we are studying string literals, if I mentioned a word or sentence means, it will add backslash 0 at the end of the word. Okay. So here one example they have given welcome. See. So how many words are there totally? Welcome. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Totally 7 characters are there. So at the last it will add backslash 0. So see here totally 7 words are there. But in memory it will allocate so 8 characters. Why? Because string literals it will automatically assign backslash 0 at the last of the characters. So instead of 7 in memory it will allocate how many spaces? 8 spaces. Understand about string literals? So character constant means character constant always represent using single quotes, but string literals you should mention using double quotes. Understand? So in string literals always the character or words ends with backslash 0. Some examples they have given. Listen. So listen. So A inside double quotes, welcome inside double quotes, 1, 2, 3 inside double quotes. So this and all valid string literals. Same thing they have mentioned in single quotes. But the single quote character is accepted by string literal? No. So this is not a string literal. So you will give the output as a invalid. Understand? Understand? So today you have studied about literals. Isn't it? So what are the literals one time? When you study what are the literals you have studied today? One time you revise it. Numeric literals, boolean, character and string. So under the boolean, under the numeric, what are things you have studied? Integer as well as real. So in integer, what are things you have studied? Decimal, octal and hexadecimal. In real, what are the things you have studied? Real or floating point, exponent as well as mantissa part. Boolean, how many values it will have? Totally 2. What are they? True as well as false. True means 1, false means 0. So character means the constant will, so you are defining a character, constant means it will define inside a single quote, but a character is allowed. But each character will have specific ASCII values. Isn't it? Next, string literals. String literals means you should mention the words or characters inside double quotes. So whatever you are mentioning at the last of the word, \0 is added automatically. So while you are saving the words in the memory, so totally 7 words is there, means it will add for 8th word as a \0. So next you have studied escape sequences or non-graphic characters. So what do you mean by escape sequences? So some characters you are not able to type from the keyboard. So that we are calling as a non-printable characters or escape sequences. So and also escape sequences always mention with \/ symbol. So understand? Okay, so today after this enough. So tomorrow we are going to study about operators. Very, very important question. Okay, so today you have studied about important question. What are things? Literal. Last class you have studied tokens question. Very, very important. So today I have to take class about constants. Literals or constants. Very, very important question. So tomorrow we are going to study about operators. That are very, very important. So this all the things you are going to study in 12th standard also. So this chapter is very, very important. So please study thorough after completion of this session. So please study what do you mean by all this literals or constants. Okay students. So thank you. Remaining I will continue in the next class. Thank you.